Alright, so I asked a while back in one of my posts that if I did a weekly video, what people want to talk about. And I had a few replies, but I thought about it, and what means the most to me is police brutality, racism, anti-racism, right? And there's a couple other subjects. But I think my first video should be on Breonna Taylor. That's a pretty hot topic right now. By the way, it's my daughter, Allison. She's blocked on Facebook right now, by the way.
I'm post-blocked.
She's post-blocked. She can't even send anybody any money. So don't ask to borrow any money right now. Anyways, TV's on in the background, so you might see flashes from the TV, but whatever. We're just gonna do this video. I'm just gonna talk. I don't know if there's a show called Real Talk, but we're gonna call this one Real Talk: Why My Daughter Eats Ramen. Sounds good? All right. So, what the facts with Breonna Taylor? I'm gonna try to stick to the facts. I might throw a lot of opinion out there, but it's important to me because what makes me mad is when people are killed by police, and especially when black people are killed by police. The first thing people want to look up is their criminal record or what they're done criminally. You know, in my opinion, no one deserves to die by the hands of a cop. Okay? Do cops deserve to defend themselves? Yes. I believe cops should defend themselves 100%. If there's a threat, cops should be able to defend themselves. I believe that. Okay? Another belief that I have is this: that cops are underpaid, tremendously underpaid, and they need better training. But I also believe cops should be held to a higher standard. With that being said, I think with this case in particular, there's no justice for the family. Now, we also need to understand the FBI has not finished their investigation yet. So the FBI is continuing an investigation. So the investigation at the state level is complete. And there's no charges brought in the death of Breonna Taylor. Now, there was a cop that was dismissed from the police force, and then he has charges pending against him. And the reason he was dismissed is because he fired blindly through a patio glass window with the blinds, and then he also fired through a window. So he just fired randomly. So he deserved to be dismissed. Okay? So now there were 12 witnesses that testified with the grand jury. 11 witnesses said that the cops didn't announce themselves, that they just kicked the door in, started busting off shots. Okay? One witness said they heard the cops announce themselves. Okay. So the police they had a no-knock warrant originally. It was switched to a knock and announce warrant, I think an hour to an hour and a half before the warrant was served. Okay? Which changes the whole dynamic of everything. Alright? But it was being served at 1 a.m. So, what I find odd is the one witness that testified, that's not what the grand jury believed. They didn't believe 11 witnesses, they believed one. And the witness testified that he heard the cops announce themselves, that they were the police before they kicked in the door. Right? They knocked, said they were the police. What I find odd is, in his original testimony that was recorded, is that he said he didn't hear them announce themselves before they came. Okay. So regardless, 12 people testify. One person says that they heard the cops announce themselves. 11 people said they heard nothing, just the door bang in and shots, and after the shots were fired, the police announced themselves. And the grand jury believed one instead of 11. Okay, another thing we don't know is what the prosecutor said to the jury. We don't know that. Like, there might be a law that prevents them from prosecuting the two cops. We don't know that. Okay? So, the facts are that they had a warrant. Breonna's name was on the warrant, right? That she was a resident of the home. Okay? So, What was her boyfriend's name? I got it right here. Was his name Kenneth Walker? I just want to make sure I got it right. So the cops bust in the door. Now, if it's me at 1 a.m., somebody kicks in my door that announce themselves, I'm busting off shots. Just saying, right? Don't matter who it is. I'm laying somebody down because I got to protect my home. Now the police knock, I'm going to comply. So I'll just say I would believe 11 witnesses over one. Me personally, now that's an opinion, okay? Facts are 11 witnesses testified they didn't announce themselves. One witness said they did. So he fired one shot. Kenneth Walker fired one shot. The cops fired more than 20. Okay? And then there was a video, and now I don't understand what like the policy of the police force is. I seen a video where the police went in, they cleared the whole place while Breonna's laying there lifeless. They didn't give her any medical attention until they cleared the whole house. So I don't know. It was disturbing to me because I'm like, could that have been the time they could have saved Breonna? You know? So that's disturbing to me. Biggest disturbing thing is that with everything going on, that the family's not going to get any justice. And when people are talking about, like, they bring up a kid, what was the name? I forgot the kid's name. I'm sorry if I don't know it, but a 5-year-old kid got shot in the head by a guy. And then everybody's like, well, there's no justice for that kid. Well, whenever we say justice for a family, that means that there was charges brought, right? So when a cop kills somebody and it becomes justified, that family gets no justice because the cop is free, goes back to his job. He gets a paid vacation, right? The kid who was shot, his killer was arrested the next day and is going to spend the rest of his life in prison. That family got justice. Breonna Taylor's family has no justice. So, yeah, there's a suit they won, like $12 million or something. But I guarantee that they would much rather see justice. If me as a father, one of my children got shot by police, I would rather have justice than money. Money's not going to do anything for me. Yeah, it's going to buy nice things. I can afford a new car. You know, it's going to make life easier, but I want to see the person that did it.
Yeah.
I want justice. You know what I mean? And so I think when these police officer homicides, and now I'll say this, there's good cops. The majority of cops are good. I want to believe that. Majority cops, 95% of them are good. They're there for the right reasons. I mean, they get paid like shit, and they're out protecting our streets. They don't know half of us out there protecting people. Whenever you call the police, they come. They don't care what the danger is. They're going to come. You know? And I can't say it that I know what they're in because I'm not a cop. That's not something I would do. I'll just say that. I have family members that are cops, and I believe they're good cops because I believe they were raised right. Okay? But I mean, I'll say this: we have to take a few things into account. Okay? The numbers of white people being killed by cops versus black people killed by cops, right? The numbers are skewed because only 13% of the population are black. So the numbers are skewed. Also, it doesn't show unarmed people. I can't find a stat when it comes to unarmed people, like white people that are unarmed versus black people that are unarmed. I can't find a stat. They don't post that, right? I just know this. I've never had to have a conversation with my children about to keep their hands on the steering wheel whenever a cop pulls them over. And I know that people who have kids that are black, they have to have that conversation. That when black people are pulled over by police, it can be a life and death situation. When I've been pulled over by the police, it's never been a life and death situation. But I will tell you what I've witnessed when it comes to racism, okay, personally. Whenever I was in Texas, I was raised most of my life in Texas, and the police found out that most of my friends are black. I'd get pulled over, and they would call me an N-word lover. That's in 1992, 1993. Common era. That's what I was called. I got pulled over in Salt Lake with one of my friends, Julian, who was black. Right in front of my friend Julian, the cop asked me, well, don't you have any white friends? Why do you hang out with him? Like, it was such a racist moment that I didn't even know how to react. It's like you ever had anything happen like that where it's so racist, your mind can't even comprehend how racist it is? Now, most people that know me know I have a past. I had stuff happen in the past. So I'll just say I went to court, and I was there. And it was like my fourth time receiving an assault charge. There's a black kid in there, about the same age, on shoplifting. Class B misdemeanor. First offense. I got 10 days in jail. 10 days in jail for a Class A misdemeanor assault. This kid got 90 days and 2 years probation on his first offense. Same judge. It should have been the other way around. So for those of you that think there's not white privilege in the United States, you're not being honest with yourself. And when you think the media is blowing racism out of proportion, then you're blind. Just because it's not happening in your world doesn't mean it's not happening, because it 100% is. We call it systemic racism, because it's within the system that this is happening. And so, back to Breonna Taylor, okay? Regardless of what her choices were, okay, she didn't deserve to be gunned down by police. So we don't know the facts. So when somebody says, well, if you deal drugs, you deserve the consequences, that's bullshit. Like, you're just not, you can't be honest about that, right? Somebody busts in your door, doesn't matter what it is. We live in America, we have rights. We're supposed to be safe in our home, right? Okay. So did Kenneth Walker have the right to defend his home? 100%. The gun was registered to him. That's a fact. Somebody's busting through his door. Now, are you going to believe one witness, or are you going to believe 11? Now, if you say you're going to believe one witness, now understand that this is a witness that changed the story. So, when I think about that, what comes to mind is there's a Matthew McConaughey movie, A Time to Kill. And he gives an amazing speech. His final words in the court. And if you're not familiar with it, Samuel L. Jackson's in it, and his daughter gets raped, brutally raped, and he goes to court, shoots these guys in court. Obviously did it, and Matthew McConaughey has to defend himself, and he gives this amazing speech. And he talks about everything that happened to this woman. He wants you to imagine it. But he says at the end, which sticks in my mind, imagine this happened to your daughter. And he says, now, I want you to imagine that she was white.